Welcome to our Home for the Holidays cooking extravaganza. I am Chef Robin Selden, and today I'm going to be diving into one of my favorite go-to holiday recipes, a mouth-watering butternut squash risotto.
And I'm going to be pairing it with some of our amazing Scotch cocktails from Compass Box. And by the way, I'm Jeffrey Selden, not a chef, but I'm here to make some great cocktails. I know many of you think that risotto may be that kind of scary recipe, but don't worry, Robin's going to make it so easy for you all.
And honestly, the best part of it all is that it's like a warm, delicious hug for your taste buds. Pull out your fancy new wooden spoons that we gave you in your boxes and your bag of risotto, just like here, and all the rest of your ingredients. Now, one little chefy thing that I'm going to share with you is that I like to prep all of my ingredients ahead of time. And what we call that is mise en place. That's just a French term meaning all of your ingredients are organized and prepped. And so, for instance, when my recipe says that your leeks should be chopped and diced, do that ahead of time. So everything is measured, everything is diced and sliced and ready. So all that you're actually doing is just adding it into your stove. So let's get cooking, like I said. We're going to start off by sauteing. Turn on my heat here. We're going to start off, we're going to put our oil and our butter. Everything's better with butter, right? And we're going to let that, stir that around and get that to be melty and bubbly for a minute. And in the meantime, I'm going to just, so that in an effort to save time, on another burner, you're going to melt some more butter. Because like I said, again, everything is better with butter. Now, in this saute pan, what we're going to be doing is we're going to turn this beautiful piece of butter into some brown butter. You're going to want to get it like a golden brown color, and that's when we're going to saute our butternut squash for your butternut squash risotto. Okay, so we've got some nice sizzling butter and oil. The oil helps your butter from not burning, just a fun fact. And right now we're going to go in with all of our nice diced leek and our fennel. And for those of you that have an aversion to that anise flavor of fennel, it sort of mellows out and it's just really sweet almost in this risotto, so I really encourage you to use it. We're just going to get this sauteing. And really what we are looking for is we're going to look for this to become somewhat translucent. Now, you're going to notice that I use the light green parts of the leek here along with the white. You don't really want to get into the dark green because that's kind of rough. And even when you saute it, it doesn't melt down, and like leeks just melt down into things, and you're going to taste that when you taste this delicious risotto. So we're going to let this hang out here a little. And meanwhile, we're going to head on over to our sizzling, gorgeous butter. Now at this point, I'm going to add my sage leaves, because this is going to give us some incredible flavor to the butternut squash. And you always want to be layering your flavors. These are going to just sizzle away and flavor this butter. That's going to be this incredible brown butter. This is awesome at this point also. You could even add some cooked, just plain pasta into this, and this would just like melt in your mouth. It'd be like a fantasy of fun in your mouth, right, Jeffrey? You like when I say things like that. Now, speaking of layering flavors, I always like to layer flavors and add salt and pepper as I'm cooking, because you want to layer every bit of what you're doing. So here in my leek and fennel mixture, we're going to add some fresh ground pepper. And I've got my salt here. Give that a nice stir. You hear that sizzling? I wish you could just smell this. Does it smell so good?
Amazing.
Yeah, you can smell the aromatics of the sage. It's so incredible. And as you see, you start to get like those brown bits because the butter solids are starting to brown here. Okay, we have got brown butter. So now my perfectly diced mise en place of my butternut squash is going in. Now, the scary part of risotto to most people is that it just takes so long and you're worried that you got to keep stirring, and that's why I'm suggesting to work through your recipe like this. So you're sort of multitasking the recipe, because I'm sauteing my butternut squash in one frying pan, and then I've got my gorgeous leeks and fennel here. And so this is going to take a little while, so I think we should move on to you, Jeff, and why don't you bring on one of your cocktails?
Okay, so first I'm going to be making a hedonism old fashioned, which is a cocktail made with Compass Box hedonism single malt scotch. And this scotch is one that I happen to love, and it's perfect for an old fashioned because in particular it has a lot of vanilla flavors, dried fruit, sort of a creaminess to the scotch that makes it really perfect for an old fashioned. A few things that I'm going to share though with you first is if you see here, a lot of times when I'm preparing cocktails for the holidays, I think about what's the flavor note that would work well with scotch. I like to make simple syrups that are made with all different types of aromatics. We've got cloves, I've got cardamom, cinnamon, also using citrus. So orange is the perfect pairing for any kind of scotch cocktail, any kind of citrus peels, rosemary. And then we also have really fun ways to make ice cubes that are really great and unique, such as these. So we've got square ice cubes, I've got round. I've made some that have oranges and cloves in them. I've made some that have rosemary. So whatever flavor profile you prefer, you can always put those into your cubes. I use a brand called Tovolo who makes these here, and these are a ice cube mold to make a single round sphere, and then also silicone molds to make the large cubes. So starting off, you could do a few things with your glass. If you're the kind of person that wants all the bells and whistles on your cocktail, having a rimmer to your glass is always a fun way to do it. We have one here that we've made, which is a kind of holiday spice. It has ginger, it has nutmeg, allspice, some sugar, and I use this as kind of that rimmer to the glass, which you have to do before you actually prepare your cocktail. So I would basically take a little bit of a citrus juice and kind of like just rub the edge of the glass with that citrus. And this is just kind of an easy, like, right into it. So not too much, but enough to kind of rim the glass like that and gives you a really fun extra bit of flavor, color, texture to your glass. So let's start out. So hedonism. So we've got the little bottles. We've given you a box of 3 different types. There are different variances of malt whiskey, grain whiskey. Hedonism is, again, what I think is going to be perfect for this. So I would start out with your pour here. You take the entire little bottle here. It's like 1.7 ounce pour. And you can pour that entire thing into your shaker. Again, this is not going to be a shaken cocktail, but I usually just use a shaker, or if you have a glass at home, a large glass that you can use, that would be a fun way to do it. Then bitters. I usually use an orange bitters, particularly with this style of a old fashioned. So you can get any kind of bitters, Angostura bitters. I prefer the flavor of the orange, which is made with orange peel. Usually about 4 or 5 drops in there. Not a lot, it's just an added layer of flavor. And then there's a simple syrup, which I've made here, which is a vanilla cinnamon syrup. Basically equal parts of sugar and water, which you can do at home. You can make this the night before, and you take, let's call it a cup of water, a cup of sugar, a few cinnamon sticks. You boil it for 20 minutes, and then you have a syrup here. I'm gonna pour in the equivalent of about a 1/4 ounce, which is just enough to flavor it, to season it, to sort of give that sort of added sweetness to the cocktail and take away some of the bite from the scotch. So I've got my ingredients in there. The other thing that I can do is to prepare for my glass, I can also take a peeler, just any kind of regular peeler, carrot peeler, and just take a really nice big rind here, which I think is going to add a nice element here, which we'll put just off to the side. And I'm going to pick the orange and clove cube, single cube. If you have this, having a rocks glass works really nicely. So you need a wide mouth rocks glass that's big enough to hold one of these cubes. So you're already starting out with something that looks like that. And I'm just going to take my drink here. I'm going to add a little bit of ice. And I'm going to start stirring it. So I'm not shaking it because I don't want too much of the ice, right? I don't want to shake this where the ice all disintegrates and now I have like a frozen cocktail here. I just want to chill it enough so that you've got a freezing cold drink, which will be delicious once it's poured over the ice. Okay. Delish. So I'm now going to take that. If you have a strainer at home, that's great. If you have a cocktail strainer, either way, you can go directly over right onto the cube. And you're all set. You've got your drink. You could take your orange twist, twist it. The oil from the skin of the orange is what's going to really give you all the flavor. So put that in your drink. And if you're like me and you want an added level of sweetness, you can take some of my favorite Luxardo cherries, which are basically a brandy cherry. Take some here, so you have that beautiful syrup that comes with it, and just put those into your cocktail. And there you have your drink. Absolutely delicious. Totally yum. If you're that person that just wants it a little sweeter, you could also even embellish it with a tiny bit of the syrup from this, which even makes it that much more delicious. That's how I like it.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah. So go for it. Try this at home. Not a hard cocktail to make, and absolutely delicious.
So you said that we were going to get to taste them.
Yeah.
Can I try it?
Yeah, absolutely. You could be the taste tester.
Cheers.
I just like the Luxardo cherry syrup.
Ooh. Now that's good. Back to me, everybody. Okay, I want to talk to you about our butternut squash here. So as you can see, it's nice and tender and it's completely cooked. You do not want to overcook this because then you're going to have butternut squash puree. You want to hold up the integrity of that beautiful dice that we have and not overcook it. So we're just going to let this sit. Let me just taste it. It's absolutely perfect. Just the right amount of sage. You taste the brown butter. This is going to flavor our risotto beautifully. So let's just like set this over here for a moment because we definitely don't want it to keep cooking. And now we're going to bring over our chicken stock. We got to get that nice and warm because you want to add warm ingredients into into the warm risotto because you don't want it to have to bring it up to temperature. So let me check my heat level here. Great. So now my, as you can see, we have completely sweat down my leek and fennel concoction here with the butter, and we're going to now add our risotto in. I find that it's really important to toast rice, regardless whether it's risotto or if you're making just regular rice. It gives it a nuttier flavor and it brings out the taste in the rice. So here we're just going to give a quick saute, incorporate all of these beautiful sauteed veggies into the rice and give it just a quick toast. And that looks good. And now we're going to add your white wine. I'm using a dry white wine. Use whatever you have because at the end of the day, the alcohol is going to cook off and you're just going to get the flavor, but don't cook with something you won't drink. Got it, people? Okay. So now we're just going to give this, continue stirring and just keep on sauteing until the wine starts to evaporate. At this point, what I'm going to suggest is maybe Jeff can make another cocktail right now. I'll just keep on stirring, and then once I evaporate all of my wine, or we've evaporated all of the wine, I may just start to add my chicken stock in because you definitely want to keep adding your liquid in as it evaporates because you don't want to burn the bottom here. So, and that's where you're going to get those creamy textures is not putting the liquid in all at the same time. You're just building those starches are coming out in that rice. You're getting that creamy effect. It's so good. So bring on another cocktail, Jeffrey.
She says that she squints.
I squint because I'm so passionate about it. So right now we're going to start with my first spoonful. You want to be on like a medium heat now. You don't want to cook this too fast because you'll never get the rice cooked thoroughly if you cook it too fast. This is the part that you baby that risotto. And this is what people are afraid of. But look at this, isn't scary at all. I'm just getting a steam facial with this delicious flavor. And wait till you taste it.
Okay, back on me.
Okay, back on you. Let's go.
So our next scotch, we've got this Glasgow blend, which has also come in your box. And what's interesting about this is it's a totally different style of scotch, and that'll be fun for you to try and sample the different flavors. But this is a blended scotch made with both grain and malt. So it has that little bit of a varied flavor to it. What's nice is the malt gets mellowed by the grain, so you don't have that too peatiness of scotch that some people love, but others are like, step away, which is what's different than whiskey. If you get whiskey or bourbon that is like American whiskey, that's totally different. This is scotch, and scotch is going to have that peatier taste to it. So anyway, some of that grain is going to just mellow down that malt. Okay, so we're going to make a Rob Roy today. And a Rob Roy is a classic old school cocktail. It's pretty straightforward and simple. A lot of the similar ingredients than from the old fashioned that we just had, but a little less of the bells and whistles. So we're going to take our entire bottle here. Again, it's about a 1.7 ounce, so it's enough to make one cocktail. So that's that. Then we're going to take a sweet vermouth, and there's really no substitute for the best, which is Antico formula. Antico is an Italian vermouth, sweet vermouth. Carpano is the brand, and we do like a 1 ounce pour, so it's kind of like, you could measure this, you could have a cocktail measure at home. I just know it from making them. But this brand, I mean, you could almost drink this straight. It's so delicious. And then again, going into bitters, which adds a little, I use a totally different, instead of that orange bitters, I have an aromatic bitters here, which again has some of that clove flavor to it, a little bit of cinnamon. Bitters are mostly made up of a vodka base and then flavors that are, so again, it's just going to be like 4 or 5 drops. Same concept here. Put some ice on it. And we're going to stir it around. This is a drink that is not served on the rocks. It's served straight up. And typically it is done with a martini glass, something like that. It's a strong drink, so you really have to love your scotch to be able to enjoy it the way that. I didn't have my cocktail glass, so I'm improvising with this. So good. It's so smoky. And if you could try it, you'd totally understand. But now we're going to take our cocktail glass, which is in essence a martini glass, and we're just going to go right in there. You could use the Luxardo cherry because, again, I love orange anything with scotch. I'm just going to do it again. I know it's a repeat performance, but I'm just going to do it again. And go right in there. And, you've got your cocktail. The flavor of the oil from the orange is going to be amazing. This is super delicious. It is smoky, it's smooth, it's strong, but it's great, and that's your Rob Roy. And using a fun martini glass, like a red one for the holidays, would be great, like this. So, yum, so delicious. Robin, you're going to try it. It'll put some hair on your chest.
Oh, just what I need. Hair on my chest, he just said. Folks at home, you want hair on your chest? You're going to make this cocktail. Okay. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yes, you are going to put hair on your chest. That is
Cheers.
so delicious and smoky and amazing.
That's so yum. Yeah.
It like you just feel it go right down.
Yes.
Oh my. That is so good. Okay. Hi.
Hi. She's drunk now.
Yeah. I had a sip of a Robin Roy and we are cooking like Julia Child here. Okay, yeah. Someone may say, I'm a vegetarian. I'm not interested in using chicken stock. Well, that's not a problem at all. You can use a really good vegetable stock and it will be equally as wonderful. You don't want to have wine in it, don't use wine. It's absolutely fine. Just use more of the stock to bring those liquids together. I just happen to love the flavor of it. I think it really adds a lot, and the alcohol is completely cooked down anyway, so it's really not about the alcohol here, it's more just the flavor. And as I said, when you're doing something like this, you're just building on top of these flavors, more delicious lists so that it's so interesting when you get a bite of it. Okay, so we are cooking with steam here, people. Cooking with steam, stirring away. I have a job for you. Would you help me?
Sure.
So one of the things that is my secret ingredient, which I'm sharing with you in this recipe, is I like to finish my risotto with mascarpone cheese. Essentially, that's Italian cream cheese almost. And it just gives you this absolutely rich and delicious creaminess at the end that you fold in. So what I do is I have mascarpone cheese here and a little lemon juice, and we're gonna whisk this together to get it nice and creamy. So Jeff, why don't you do that for me, please?
Sure.
You could be my Vanna White. This is like the boring part anyway, so you're gonna speed through it.
I think it looks good. You think this is ready? I mean, it's all combined. The lemon is in there with the mascarpone.
Let's just give it a little taste.
Does it need salt and pepper?
What the lemon's gonna do, and we're also adding lemon zest as you see on the recipe, is it's gonna brighten this whole dish right up. You will not believe how amazing it is. So I've been stirring here, I'm gonna say probably for 12 to 15 minutes. You know, it takes a lot of love to make risotto. Again, it's not scary, it just takes a lot of time. So, you know, and you don't wanna rush it. That could be the worst part of it, is that what you'll get is the rice will be crunchy, it won't be al dente if you cook it too fast. So as you can see, it's really developing the starches here and really getting going. I think I need some more salt and pepper again, building those flavors. Look, I don't care how good of a chef you are, you have to taste your food throughout the process. Especially if you're gonna make things ahead of time, like during the holidays, sometimes you wanna prepare so you can actually be a guest at your own party. Make sure that when you reheat it, you taste it again, because something like a starch like this or a potato, it soaks in all those flavors and it really needs to be completely seasoned again. Just another fun chefy tip for you. Let me add a little more liquid here. Another trick, you pour your liquid over the back of a spoon or a ladle, and then it doesn't splash up at you.
Should I make one more cocktail while we're waiting?
Yeah, that would be great. I'm
Okay.
just gonna keep stirring, and I may have to interject if it gets to my point of readiness,
Okay.
but stay tuned.
So our third bottle that's in your box is Orchard House. It's another different variety, another blended Scotch from Compass Box. And what's interesting about this is a malt whiskey only. There's no grain in here. It's pure malt, so you're definitely going to have that oaky peatiness that comes with it. A much smokier vibe on this particular Scotch. Dried fruit, lots of peaty, lots of smokiness in there. So again, I'm going to make something called a highball, which is a classic, simple drink. It's not a very complicated thing, and it's called a highball. It's served in a highball. Basically, straight up, you're taking a glass, a highball glass, filling it with ice, kind of like that. If you were really fancy, you could take some of those silicone molds and make a long single ice cube to put in there, but we don't have that today. So we're just gonna do our straight up Scotch in here. A classic highball, which you'll find if a lot of Japanese whiskey uses a classic highball, which is clearly Japanese whiskey and straight up soda water. So you could use a Pellegrino to top it with. You could also use a lemonade, like a sparkling lemonade. I kind of love this, favor the fever tree. I usually like a tiny, like a little like splash like that. You could also just take your lemon, and same thing, you could take a peel, you could take the squeeze. We're just gonna do a little bit here of a squeeze of lemon. I think that'll be kind of a nice fresh flavor to it all, kind of as Robin is putting lemon in her risotto to brighten everything up. I kind of like it also in here, so it adds a little bit of a layer there to it all. And then I'm gonna just top it with some soda water. It's meant to be a really light drink. This is not a heavily alcoholic cocktail here. So straight up like that to make your classic highball. Now, if you were super fancy, you could go to Whole Foods and buy some verjus. And verjus is basically a grape, it's almost like a vinegar made from grapes. And that adds a totally different sort of citrusy, acidic to this all, but that's really your highball. And the verjus would replace your lemon. I'm a purist. I just go straight up here. Classic, it's almost a summery drink, but I kind of like it any time of year. Light, delicious. You definitely taste that smokiness. So
No hair on my chest?
no hair. It's a much lighter drink.
Ooh, is that good?
Isn't that
I
good?
love that fever tree too.
Yeah.
Cheers. Let's finish this risotto. Can you see what's happening in here? Look at how it's suddenly come together. It's all creamy and delicious. So now's the time that we're going to add all of our add-ins. So we're going to add our lemon zest, going to add our peas. I don't know. I think peas are underrated. I just love a pea in my rice. I love that pop and that freshness.
Are those fresh peas or frozen?
No, they're frozen, but I just, I defrosted them. I mean, look at this. Doesn't that look so good? We haven't even added in the look at this.
Squash.
The butternut
Looks
squash, the brown butter. Oh, again,
That looks
everything's
amazing.
better with butter, right? I don't want to leave any of that goodness in my pan. Okay, so we give this another stir. The last thing we're going to do before we add the mascarpone is we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. This is really good, freshly grated Reggiano Parmesan. Now, can you use what you buy in the store? Absolutely. I just like it fresh. I think it really adds a lot of flavor. There's such a nuttiness to a really good Reggiano Parmesan. So you see what this looks like? Let me just give
My
this
turn
a
to
taste.
taste?
Well,
Oh, she
first
gets
I'm
to taste?
tasting. We're not done.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. You guys are going to freak out. Okay. And if that's not good enough, now we're going to add,
It's my turn.
I'm going to turn it off.
All of it?
Yes, all of it. Because it doesn't need to cook anymore. Now we're going to just fold in this amazing mascarpone mixture. Look at how well he does this job.
I think I haven't done this before. I want to stir it.
You want to stir it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks
good.
so good. Look at that cheesy goodness. Just be careful. You only want to fold this now because you don't want to break down.
I'm folding it.
I'm just talking.
I'm folding.
I'm telling them
Okay.
that you don't want to break down the butternut squash.
I'm not breaking anything.
Look at that. Oh. So let's taste it and see if we need any more salt and pepper.
Perfect.
And if we need any more Parmesan. No chance. Okay. The lemon
It's
zest.
so lemony.
Right? Is that so good? It brightens the whole dish, and you have that warmth of the brown butternut squash, and you taste the sage. It's a winner, you guys.
I would add more Parmesan.
Look
Only
at
because I
this.
like Parmesan and everything.
Okay.
Or we could
well,
just top it.
So when you were to serve this for your guests, you would definitely either have the Parmesan on your table and let them put it on, because it does add saltiness, or just mix it in. Let's go for it. It's kind of like butter. Yum. Little Parmesan, and wait. I told you I love fresh pepper, right? Ta-da!
Anything else?
No, I
Okay.
love that.
Looks amazing.
Doesn't it look good?
Oh my God.
One thing that's really key is you want to keep your risotto to have a little bite to it. Do you taste how I kept that
It's a
like
little
al dente?
What's key is to have a drink with it. Cheers.
Cheers to the holidays. And there you have it. We have had such a blast making our yummy risotto and crafting these awesome Scotch cocktails that will have your taste buds dancing. I hope you enjoyed yourselves as much as we did. Remember, the holidays are all about savoring moments, and there is no better way than through delicious food and great company, right?
Try these cocktails. Get back to us and let us know how they came out. We'd love to see. Tag us on social media just so we can see what you've done.
Yeah.
Show us what you've made. Tell us how it tasted. And hopefully you'll enjoy it just as much as we did. And that's what makes the holidays truly magical, is cooking at home, trying some cocktails, and enjoying some fun with family and friends.
So guys, from our kitchen to yours, we wish you a joyful, delicious, and heartwarming holiday season. Cheers to good food, good friends,
And good times.
Good times and family.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Oh my God.
Okay.
She's drunk now.
Yeah, I had a sip of a Robin Roy, and we are cooking like Julia Child here. I just found him when I was on my way here. I needed a guy. Welcome to our home for the holidays cooking extravaganza. Can I say that again? Even on? Oh, burn our hair.
Don't worry about my hair, my arm.
A delicious, mouth-watering. You know it, Jeffrey. Now that's good. Back to me, everybody. I'm I'm just getting a steam facial with this delicious flavor. Folks at home, you want hair on your chest? You're gonna make this cocktail.
She's like, I kind of love this. Favor the fever tree. Cheers.
Cheers to the holidays. Enjoy.